Welcome to East Tennessee Pinball, back at this Champion Rifle Range. Ended up the last video, I was having some problems with the score motor running on. So one thing I did was, it's hard to see, but there's a little, I don't know what you call it, a little bobbin that pops in and out that engages the gear. And when it pops out immediately, it should basically disconnect. You can see that bobbin right there. Disconnect the bobbin from the gear because this is spinning super fast and has some momentum. So you can see it spinning in there. It's not engaged right now, but when it pushes in like that, it engages and turns the gear. But there was basically drag on that shaft there. So clean that out a little bit. The other thing I noticed is I'd blown two fuses. This 1 amp and 2 amp. That's possibly why they had, I think it was 10 and 15 in there or something like that. Those are playfield switches, bullseye target, bank reset, and pop bumper and kickers. So I haven't gone through anything on the playfield, so I'm gonna go ahead and strip the playfield, flip it over, look at the backside, clean the switches, clean the bulbs, clean the inserts, basically do all the playfield maintenance. I'll get it pulled out here. The first thing I'm gonna do is just go ahead and strip it. All right, so I got everything stripped off the playfield. A couple of the plastics were cracked a little bit, but not too badly. I'll glue those back together. Gonna clean up this playfield. I'll start with some naphtha. It's it sounds aggressive, but it's actually very passive. It's good for cleaning up all this just surface dirt, and then you really kind of see where you're at. There's actually white stars here, kind of hard to see before. But once I get kind of the gross dirt off of it, then I'll go back with some Novus 2, maybe some polish on top of that, some other polish, I don't know. I'm gonna start with the Novus start with the naphtha, and we'll see where we're at after that. All right, so I cleaned the left side. I haven't cleaned the right side, just with some naphtha. I refill these Zippo lighters because they've got a nice dispenser, but you can buy the stuff in big quarts of naphtha, same stuff. Anyway, don't try to get everything with this. I'm really just trying to get the surface stuff off. It feels a lot smooth. This is all gritty and this is smooth. I don't want to use the some kind of a polish like Novus or something on this because it's got all this dirt and you're just going to grind it in. So I want to get it a little bit clean before I start a polishing phase. So I literally spent like a minute and a half maybe on this side, and I'll do another minute and a half there, and then I'll get out the Novus. All right, I've done a little bit more. I went ahead and finished this side here also with naphtha, and then I did this whole quadrant here with Novus 2. You can see the difference between, say, like here and over here. See that section there versus that section there. This is considerably dirtier, and then I did a little bit more. Just this little area right here. Use some magic eraser, and you can see the difference between the magic eraser and just the Novus 2. You got to be real careful with the magic eraser. You go too far, and you'll burn a hole through the paint. So you can see I did not try to take off all the bowl swirls. I just took out most of them. That was like I spent 15 seconds on that spot, not very much, not very much pressure. So I'm just going to do a light magic eraser, probably most of this playfield. The other thing about this game is you got to remember you're looking at it through a mirror from directly above. So a lot of the hardest places to clean, like normally on a pinball, the slingshots, you're going to see underneath there and they're right up close. So you really want to pay a lot of attention to them. This game, not so much. I mean, you got a plastic over there and you're looking straight above. You're not going to see any of that. So, yeah, it's good to get it, but, nobody's ever going to know whether you did or didn't. Same with the skirts. I'm going to clean them, but nobody's ever going to see those skirts because you're looking directly above, and those pop bumper caps are kind of weird. They're big plastics, and they come out to about here. So, put your time where it's going to be most useful. But anyway, I guess I'll go ahead and clean this half here, left half, and we'll compare them. Okay, I cleaned a little bit more with this one. Did a little bit of a real light magic eraser on the whole thing. Came back and cleaned it up, the residue of the magic eraser with some naphtha. Looks a lot better. So I'm gonna do the same thing to this side. You see the difference. This one's got a little bit more shine, much cleaner. The white stars are like real obvious now. Before, I mean, I didn't even see them hardly. This one's still pretty dirty, but we're gonna get it done, and then we'll wax it up. All right, so I finished up the other side, cleaned the other side, and then I took one more step and I went ahead and used Mother's Pure Polish. This is their #1. They have a #1, and then they have a fine polish. Basically, what I regard this, this is Novus too, but on the scale, if this was on the same scale as this would be like a half. This stuff is more coarse than this, so this will get it clean. This will start to polish it smooth. Then I usually go straight from this to waxing. I mean, I've got some the #2, and boy, it's really fine. I mean, if you had a custom car with a really deep paint job, you probably tell the difference. On 1960s pinball machine, I don't know that I can tell any difference whether I use the 2 or not, so I'm gonna skip it. So I'm gonna wax this now. It's you already start seeing it's shining even though it has not been waxed yet. Looks way better than it did about an hour ago. And I'm gonna go ahead, I got my parts here, I'm gonna throw them all in the ultrasonic. I just leave them in all the metal parts in the magnetic tray so they don't get away from me, and let them cook for about 10 minutes and be ready to go. All right, so this will be the last segment on this video. Got it all waxed up. So I did, first went with the cleaner wax, and then I went through the pure carnauba wax. Cleaned up, looks a lot better than it did. Move around so you can see the shine on it. Anyway, so that's, oh, all these saucers, they're pretty nasty, and some of them you see they're broken. I've got this green one, it's not the right color, but it lines up with the pattern there. It's a slightly different style, but it's got everything but those 2 nubs. I think it'll work. So I'm gonna order 5 of these in yellow, and put them in there, and run over here. Parts should all be done. Pull them out. And all these old opaque posts like this, they're unobtainium as far as I know. Even that inlaid guide, you can't get them that look like that. Kind of mottled green. So hold on to them. Even if you're going to replace them, hold on to them. Somebody probably wants them. A lot of these older games will use multiple colors like this does. I'll just spray this off real quick. But yeah, because you can't get these things anywhere. Those are an old game, so don't throw them out, even if you're going to swap them. I'm going to keep these because these look fine, and honestly, you can barely see them anyway. You're just looking at the top of them. So let those dry out. And we'll populate them. I got to take the plastics home. I did wash them down. Little Novus one. A couple of them, yeah, they're all kind of warped up. I'll put them between glass and in the oven and flatten those things, flatten out nicely. And a couple of them are cracked. After I get them flat, I'll bring them back and I'll glue those back together and we'll repopulate.